Hi, good morning. This is Vlog entry 183, 184, and it's about 11 a.m. CST. Well, more like noon, but closer to noon. Yeah, I don't know. I just woke up this morning and had a lot of quiet time, and I was contemplating some things and just listening to music and just random stuff on YouTube. And um, I don't know. I was like thinking about confidence and uh, my kind of like the my increasing confidence lately, at least. I'm having trouble finding words, but yeah, like how much confidence I've garnered over the past couple of years, and I guess you can segregate confidence into two different aspects, like the confidence within yourself and who you are, and the confidence in your own skills and capabilities. I believe that's a good way of looking at it, and I think I've always been confident in who I am to a degree. I would say I'm a fairly emotional, intelligent human being, and I've always been very introspective. So that was never a big issue. I've always known who I was. Now, the thing that I had trouble with is my own capabilities, and the cards that I hold through my genetics and the environment I was raised in, and over the past year and a half, maybe 2 years, I think, in that general area, it's gotten a lot better, just solely through experience and, just being outside in the world and interacting with it and seeing, like, the reality of things. And now you can also look at confidence through, at least within the domain of capability. There are two ways you can look at it, too. Now, there's confidence in your own capability and also the lack thereof. I think a good way to look at it is like, a form of self-acceptance of who you are, right? And now that can also overlap with your, like, who you are as a person too, your capabilities and where your weaknesses lie, to a degree. So now that can be changed over time and whatnot, but it's, again, like, it's a form of self-acceptance, and that was always the hardest thing for me. The hardest thing was actually accepting my limitations in some areas and whatnot, and it's gotten a lot better. I wouldn't say I was unaware of it. I think in most aspects I was, but I would avoid the development of that general weakness and whatnot, because I guess, when you have an identity, it's kind of hard to to work on those general things, because it can contradict with that said identity. I think most people tend to have a fairly rigid identity. Mine has become more fluid recently, so it's been a lot easier to move through the world just because my own mind isn't stopping me from doing things at this point. So that of course requires a lot of time and time with yourself, and just being outside and being around people, and just constantly analyzing yourself and the environment around you, and seeing where you lie, basically. And that takes really just having a slice of humble pie and understanding that. I don't know where I was going with this, but I know that I can say that I'm a lot more confident in all aspects, basically, even understanding who I am and, like, where my opinions lie, and having a better understanding of my own worldview and whatnot, and my, like, what I actually value as a human being. Now I'm still developing those aspects, but I'm definitely a lot better than I was a while back. I think I'm kind of focused on the capabilities / skill side, and a lot of development of skills kind of require you to be interested and passionate about it. So you have, like, I don't know, there are times in which I have forced myself to do things just because I know I can do them, and I can develop certain skills through certain avenues that aren't the most interesting avenues, but they are useful to a degree when it comes to cultivating a skill set. And I forced myself to do that. I think Kopi Cafe was one of them. I think working as a line cook was one of them, for sure. Just being able to enhance executive function, I kind of put my emotions to the side. I can be very robotic at times and just say, it's like, well, I mean, yeah, I may not think this is the most interesting thing in the world, but I can still use my own logic to push myself through certain things, even though my emotions aren't involved in it. I can be very cold and calculating at times. I'm also a very emotional person, but that's like a kind of a different story. It's just I don't, like, 90% of the time I don't see it, and I see it with myself. But a lot of people, it depends on who I'm around, I guess. It depends. It comes out in bursts, but in a lot of cases, especially when I do these video logs, I get into this very specific, like, cold and calculating mindset. If I were, like, using some form of substance to alter my mind, I'm sure people would be able to see the more emotional aspects through these videos, but I'd have to do some form of substance abuse to do that. I don't know. I was just thinking, so unfortunately I won't be going to school during the fall, but in the spring I'm thinking about going to university again. Applications start August 1st, and I'm going back to physics and computer science. There's a university close to me that's within, I would even say, walking distance, and it's a physics and computer science program. It's an enmeshment of the two, so you get a nice mixture of computer theory and physics, and I like both of those a lot more. I like mathematics as well, but you're going to get mathematics and computer science and physics, enough of it at least. I think that's enough mathematics for most people, and it can be very theoretical too, especially in the physics side. So I'd be satisfied with that. That's why I'm thinking about going back to school next spring. So that's going to be fun. Yep. I always sigh because I think about, like, the gen eds that I have and whatnot, but whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I've just been feeling a lot better, and I've been, like, kind of in a very, I would say I'm in a homeostasis state, I guess you could call it that, equilibrium, to the point where the reality that I'm in now is very stable. So it allows me to think about things in my future and where I want to be, except I'm a lot confident about where I want to be now as opposed to when I was younger, because I was confused. And, well, I knew this was bound to happen. I knew I was probably going to be going back to school and obtaining some form of higher education, even if it's just a bachelor's. That's great, I guess. I mean, I guess I could expound more on confidence. Again, like, I think really confidence is, no matter how incompetent you feel at times, it's really just gained through experience and understanding the cards that you have and accepting it, right? The cards that you've been dealt, and just trying your best not to compare yourself to other people. I guess people like to say that confidence comes from within. It's a good way of thinking of it. It's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Also, when it comes to having a lack of confidence, I think that it's an emotional response when you look at something within you that you consider yourself to be inadequate at, or just feeling lesser than, and all that's a feeling. It's not necessarily a objective point of view. Of course, when you start thinking about things objectively, or mathematically or coldly, that those feelings of inadequacy and incompetence and just not feeling confident just kind of dissipate, because you realize this is what I have and this is what I'm working with, and this is what I can do to make it a little bit better, to polish the edges a little bit more, and I don't know. So, yeah. At least from my point of view, my lack of confidence was it's just emotional, right? It's just emotional. It's very subjective regardless, and emotions are subjective. So, yeah, I don't know. Aside from that, I've been feeling pretty good. I've been getting into a lot of flow states recently as well. You could say the Tao is on my side. uh, I don't know if people know what Tao is, but yeah, it's basically God. So yeah, I don't know. It's just like when I'm in flow states, I know I'm in the right place. So I use that as a metric to understand that I'm actually more aligned with where I'm supposed to be going, I guess. So now the whole purpose thing is something I've been considering too. Of course, when you get into these states of comfort, you naturally start thinking about purpose and like what's next, right? What's next? Like they're like hand in hand. Like what's next, and your purpose, because obviously that's your driver to put you into a new state of homeostasis, right? So naturally, I think, of course, inducing more chaos is a good way of doing it, but chaos in the upwards direction instead of tearing down your foundations. I've torn down my foundations once because, well, I naturally had to. So I'm not doing that again, not fully at least. I did a complete overhaul of my life, and it was fun. When it comes to tearing down foundations, it has to happen, especially when you're younger, because you built your foundations off of a false identity. So my identity was false, so I had to tear it down, and I had to find myself again. So that had to happen for me. So yeah, everybody has to go through that if you want to. I would say if you want to like find truth in who you actually are, I guess. I think truth is a inherent driver of mine. So naturally I had to do it. So I mean, finding purpose, right? Purpose is a very difficult subject for me. I don't really think about it as much, especially since my mind has been in survival mode recently. But now I've been thinking about it a lot more, and finding purpose is, of course, very important for me now, especially. So now, since I consider myself to be the most passionate human being, my internal drivers are not very emotional. I tend to be more calculating, so I'm more of a utilitarian in most degrees. I would say my purpose would lie within a utilitarian perspective, a more holistic understanding of where I lie in this mechanical world. I think of everything mechanically, unfortunately. I mean, I wouldn't say unfortunately, it's just how I think of things, and that's fine. And people always, some people think it's a little bit, I don't know, people think that I'm like psychopathic or something because I'm more mechanical. I'm not psychopathic. I'm actually an empathetic human being. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. People get scared when I start thinking more mechanically. I don't know. Some people have actually verbally said that to me, especially my girlfriend. She was concerned. I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not a psychopath. I promise you. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. Like, that was a side tangent. Where was I going with that? Yeah, purpose. So my purpose lies in the more mechanical aspect. People can have more of a subjective purpose. I mean, like, naturally, everything, again, I guess you could say everything's subjective. But through the subjective world that we live in, you can create an objective framework. So there's objectivity within the subjectivity of the world. So to a degree, it's a mixture of the two. So yeah, I don't know. I think for me, my purpose will just lie in enhancing my talents and my strengths more than anything else. And that lies within my analytical capabilities, which is why I want to further my education more. And in most cases, I probably consider myself I'd want to be in a consulting position, just because I tend to think so clearly about most things. So eventually in the future, I'm hoping I can get myself in a consulting position, whether it's in physics or physics or like a business, or, if I decide to get into, if I become like self-employed, that's cool too. If whatever, I don't know, some kind of consulting position somewhere that's fairly technical, because I have a technical mind. That's something I can't avoid. Anyways, so yeah, I don't know. That's a very vague purpose, but I don't really, I don't know. I can't really be very specific about it because, again, I'm not super passionate. Um, it's just I like tearing things down and dissecting everything. So anything that allows me to do that, um, and that's fairly useful to the world would be great. And I guess it's good to be open because then I would be less indecisive to a degree because I'm indifferent towards the outcome because the variables are less constrained. So it's less thinking about it, right? So somewhere in physics and math, I know I've been like in that general direction. Yeah. So yeah. Anyways, today I'm probably gonna go for a run. I'm going to talk to my parents for a little bit. I'm probably going to go to the track and just go for like 30 minutes. I usually try to, I like to keep myself active. It's a very fun, I wouldn't say fun way, but it's a way of keeping yourself active. It's easier because I don't have to go to the gym and pay for a membership, and I like being outside. So it's a win-win for me, essentially. And yeah, I don't have to wait for people. I don't know. It's just easy, like going outside and going for a run. And yeah, yeah. So anyways, yeah, I'll be talking to my parents too. And what else am I doing today? Probably just errands and all that. Very slow day. This is my day off from all of the work I have throughout the week. So yeah, I'm trying to be relaxed, and I'm pretty calm today. I had some coffee this morning, but I'm pretty relaxed. Yeah, yeah. Been seeing a lot of repeating numbers again, which is interesting. Well, I mean, I guess there's a form, or I would say like a theory in psychology called confirmation bias. When you start looking for things, you start seeing them more in the world. So I usually just take that by a grain of salt. But maybe spiritualists would like to say otherwise. So I don't know. I I could talk about that, but yeah, that's kind of its own story, and I could really expand more on that somewhere else, or maybe it'll be more of a personal thing instead of making it public on YouTube. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying things at this point, and my mind is very calm today. It's not as loud as it usually is. It was somewhat loud yesterday, but because it had to be. Because I work in chaotic environments sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a long time since I've really felt this calm, so I'm kind of enjoying it and letting it marinate before things supposedly change up again. Of course, it has to at this point, so I'm definitely looking for other opportunities to see growth in. Yeah. Yep. I don't feel like getting into all the specifics, but yeah. And I still have to plan my camping trip. I haven't done that, and I need to talk to my employer about that, so that's something I have to do pretty soon. I also have a court for a thing. Now, I thought I didn't have it, and I thought I was excused by the police officer, but it took him a while to process it, so there's that. Yeah, anyways. I don't know. I'm not really in a talkative mood today. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Anyways, since I don't seem like I want to talk about anything else, I'm gonna go. Bye-bye.